I'd like to start with a quote from the Declaration of Independence. It says that we assert these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal, and have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we all know that when those words were penned, this wasn't really the case as it played out. African Americans had a long struggle just to be considered citizens, and then they were even denied the right to vote after that. Women didn't get the right to vote until 1920, and we're still denying some people their basic rights, even the right to life. And the group that we're denying it to is not based on race or gender, but an age group, really. The unborn, those that are less than 0, really, as we counted. And today I'd like to talk to you about rights, what is an intrinsic and an extrinsic right, which does the right to life fall under, and how does this relate to the unborn? Why does it mean that the unborn should be granted the right to life? So you probably never really thought about rights much before, much less what category. So what is an intrinsic right? An intrinsic right is one which everybody has just because you're a human being. That's a good example of that would be the right for free speech. You can say whatever you want. You don't even have to be right. You don't even have to make sense. You don't have to pass a speech test or anything. No one gives you a card that says you now have the right to say whatever you want. It's just something that you have automatically as a human being. And you don't have to be a certain age or anything. You can just do whatever you want. And you're probably ahead of me here. An intrinsic right is simply the opposite of an intrinsic right, or an extrinsic right, I'm sorry. That is, it is based on something that you do, or you attained to a certain status. For example, I have my driver's license, and this little piece of plastic means that I have the right to drive a car. In order to get this, I had to do hours of classroom, I had to do many hours of behind the wheel with my parents, which I'm sure you all remember doing or hope to do. It's very, very frightening. And I had to pass a written test, I had to pass a driving test, all of this just to get this little piece of plastic here from the DMV. But without this, I don't have that right. And this can be taken away if I abuse it. So those are the basic differences there, and you're probably wondering, well, which one does the right to life fall under? Well, there are some fancy, sophisticated philosophical arguments, but I think that really all we need is some common sense and reflection. You all have the right to life. Presumably, I can't just kill you and then the police don't care because you weren't actually allowed to live. So why? Did you take a test and get this right? No. Did you have to attain a certain level of usefulness to society? No. Grade level? No. IQ? No. So it's automatic, right? You just automatically have this right, and no one can take it away from you because no one gave it to you. So that means that the right to life is an intrinsic right. And so what does this have to do for the unborn? Well, the unborn are, of course, human beings. This is a scientific fact. Few people dispute this, and so that means that since intrinsic rights are given to all human beings, and the right to life is an intrinsic right, and babies, the unborn are human beings, that they should be given the right to life. And now, I've explained to you the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic, which one the right to life falls under, and how this relates to the unborn and why this should be extended to the unborn. But there are a lot of counter arguments out there, other considerations that people bring out, but really these are subordinate to the human being that is the unborn. People will say, well, what about level of development? That doesn't matter. The number of cells in the unborn doesn't matter. The level of dependence on the mother doesn't matter. The mother's views on the pregnancy don't matter. Whether she wants the child doesn't matter. The circumstances surrounding the pregnancy don't matter. Whether she was raped doesn't matter. Whether the unborn is a product of incest doesn't matter. Simply because that the unborn is a member of the human race overrides all of these other concerns. And as philosopher Robert George of Princeton put it, at all stages of our lives, from the embryonic to the infant to the child, all the way through adulthood. The adolescent stages as well. We are human beings with dignity and the right to life. Our dignity does not come from having achieved a certain level of intellectual capacity or even conscious awareness. We have our dignity in virtue of the kind of beings that we are. That is, a human being, a creature with rational thought, and we became that when we came to be. Thank you.